Okay, dear hearts, it is negative 11 degrees and the snow is very squeaky, so I am concerned that my squeaky feet are going to be too loud. Let me put my glove back on before my fingers get frostbitten. 1 second. Everything is slightly numb. Let's see if I can do this. There we go. My toes did get borderline frostbitten yesterday, and so I wish the camera could capture the way that there are rainbow glitter on every inch of this snow from the sparkles from the sun, but I don't think it captures it. Oh, it's just so beautiful. But today I have 2 pairs of socks and 3 pairs of pants. My toes are still numb, but they're not quite to the level where I'm like, are they frostbitten? Is this dangerous? Anyways, I just had to share. I am a strong believer in this phenomenon where when ideas sort of are ready to be shared with the collective, they come up in a way that it's like, when the peaches are ready to be eaten, like all the peaches are ready to be eaten. I don't know if that's a good metaphor because I don't know anything about peach trees. But anyways, I often have the experience where I've been like cultivating an idea and then I listen to a couple of podcasts and those people are also talking about that same idea. And I used to think like, oh my gosh, did I copy them? And worry about it. But now I realize it's just it's a thing. The idea gets available and then multiple people can pick it from the tree. So this idea, I've been saying this for the past week or so, the idea of the nervous system regulation is, as I often say, I just realized like maybe my hand was in front of the speaker, the microphone, so I hope you could hear all of that. Okay, so many people on Instagram and TikTok and wherever else talk about nervous system regulation as if it means let's all calm down and be calm all of the time, which is not what nervous system regulation means. Regulated means it works according to its design, according to the rules of its design, and the design of the vagus nerve is to effectively and autonomically, meaning without conscious control, take us into fight or flight or freeze or fawn in such a way as will allow us to survive a threat. And so being calm when there is a threat is not a safe option. And therefore, if you're calm all of the time, you do not have a regulated nervous system. You probably are just in a functional freeze. And a lot of meditation and positive thinking puts people into functional freeze in such a way that they can pull off this I'm totally chill for a while, but eventually it'll show up in the body. Anyways, that's a sidetrack. So nervous system regulation to me means, and my goal with doing the SSP and the nervous system work and the RRP now is to experience safety when it's scary. This is a little bit like the word competence, but not quite, because competence to me conveys a level of confidence that I don't always have when I'm in a regulated place. But Martha Beck's most recent Bewildered podcast, she's just written a book about anxiety, and she very much her philosophy around anxiety is fairly similar to mine. She's aware of and incorporates polyvagal theory, but not quite to the same extent that I do. But anyways, we're similar in our thought processes around it. She's talking about curiosity when something is scary is where we can shift out of anxiety. And this is exactly it. So her example is how we like to watch shows or read books about murders or crime, because we're like, I'm safe in my cozy little bed and I'm reading this book that's scary and I feel curious about it. I feel excited about it. I feel interested. So this is exactly the stance that I have found is possible with nervous system work, is that you still are like, oh, that's scary. Like, that's legitimately scary when you're watching the movie of your life. And you're like, but I'm curious about it. I'm interested. I'm almost excited about it. And there's still going to be times where you're like, ooh, I am not excited about this and I wish it would go away, right? But you're able to bring that part of you that's like, I was talking to someone yesterday who was able to, through their work with me on the nervous system and through the SSP, was able to be involved with a panic attack in a new way, in such a way that the panic attack still happened, but it was less intense and lasted for less long, because they were like, oh, what's happening here? Like, what is the thought process? Is this mobilized? Is this immobilized? Like, what is my body doing and feeling? And that little bit of curiosity means that you have connected with your frontal lobe. When we're in a pure swept away panic, pure defense state, we can't bring that curiosity. We don't have that connection with the frontal lobe, and it's just like weeping and gnashing of teeth hell. Actually, that's interesting. I wonder if hell is a metaphor for fear and heaven is a metaphor for safety. That's interesting. So yeah, when we're able to understand more about how the nervous system works, and we're able to say, like, my nervous system is taking me into a sympathetic response that's manifesting as a panic attack in order to give me information about my current situation or how my current situation relates to my past. That is super different than, I'm having a panic attack, I'm gonna die, I shouldn't be having a panic attack, what's wrong with me, I'm a terrible person, I don't want to ever have a panic attack again, right? This is where we get to connect with the curiosity can lead us to this thing that Byron Katie talks about when she goes like, ooh, you have some stressful thought, that means you get to do another worksheet, right? Like, oh my gosh, it's great, right? Because she knows that each and every worksheet is like liberating and exciting and interesting, and oh, the river is steaming. Can you see that? Oh my gosh, that is so cool. I've never seen a river steam. That is awesome. Let me see if I can get it over here. It's even more. Looks like it's a little sauna. Can you see that? Let's see if you can see that. I think you can see that. How cool is that? This is my favorite tree. Another side note, I saw a Instagram by somebody who was saying that trees are antennas, and they each have specific entities or energies or groups of angels or beings that they are in communication with, and we can connect with them to connect with those things. So they're like antennas for that, and that the trees around you know you very well, better maybe even than you yourself, and you can ask them for support. So this is my favorite tree on this walk, so I'm thinking they probably have something specific to connect me with. So hello, friend. Really love them. Okay. Steaming river. What was I saying? Okay, so Byron Katie would say, ooh, a new stressful thought. Oh, look, more steam. Oh my gosh, it really does look like a sauna. You see that? Wow. Guess that's what happens when it's negative 11 degrees. So cool. Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. Wish you could see the sparkle. I don't know why it doesn't record the sparkle on the snow. But, so pretty. This is my other favorite. This kind of tree. I don't know. I should find out what kind of tree it is, and then I can know. It's like a certain kind of pine, if anyone knows. Tell me in the comments. So, it's sort of feathery. Yeah, Myron Katie experiences it as like, ooh, another worksheet. Great. You found something else that can be brought through this self-inquiry, and it can be so fascinating and so exciting and so fun, actually. This is where I turn around. Dick Schwartz experiences it, the guy who came up with IFS, experiences it as, he calls it, a trailhead. Anytime you get one of these like pings, like, ooh, this thing is uncomfortable or stressful or painful, it's a trailhead. And it's like, ooh, that might take us to some new treasure. And the treasure is the self-discovery or self-realization or self-inquiry that brings us the self-realization. Look at my shadow. That's fun. Hello. So many fun things I'm noticing today. Look at this little guy. Who do you think lives in there? What a cute little nook. I would love to live in a little nook like that. In my water planet, where I'm apparently a octopus-like creature, we live in these little nooks that are connected by like channels underwater, and they look like little underground, under tree burrows, like they live in Winnie the Pooh. And they're so cute. I love going there. So anyways, yes, so the curiosity, so feeling safe when you're scared is like watching a scary movie for fun, and you're like, oh my gosh, it was so scary, it's so good, right? Not all of us like horror. I do not like horror, but I still like a little suspense, right? And there is something very exciting about it when we're like, ooh, what's gonna happen? So we can bring that to our own scary situations when we have more resources nervous system wise. And so it's not that we're bringing calm. We're still very likely going to have a rapid heartbeat and some sweaty hands. We are still very likely gonna, for example, I went to have my vision exam, which is my big brain injury neurological ophthalmologist thing that takes like 5 hours yesterday, and it usually makes me feel very nauseous and migraine-y, but I haven't had one for like a year, and I also haven't had migraine in a long time. And in the morning, an hour before the evaluation, I think I had some anticipatory anxiety about it, and I felt migraine and nauseous, and I was like, oh my gosh, am I getting a stomach bug? Because my kid recently had a stomach bug. But it's taken a lot of reschedules to try to get this thing on the book, so I just went anyways. And then bizarrely, after I finished the most hardest part of the evaluation, it's this one test that usually makes me the most sick, all the migraine and nauseousness went away. So it was just my body being like, I think this is maybe going to happen, so we're going to go ahead and do it now because we're too scared. It's like reading the end of the book when you're scared, or checking the end of the movie. So our bodies are still going to do that, but we get to be like, okay, how interesting. Like, I was curious, genuinely. I was a little concerned as well. Like, if I have to reschedule this, and I started talking to myself through like, okay, if I have to reschedule it, I have to reschedule it. And I was able to be like, all right, like, what is this? What is the nature of this feeling? And, I was, anytime we bring those questions, like I'm always saying, why is it going in and out of focus? Is it because of the way I'm holding it? I was able to, this is one of my other favorite trees I want to show you. Look at that. It's tipped over and that's the big roots. Isn't that fantastic? And if you come down here, it's got this nice little island that's been created. It's covered by snow right now, but you can kind of see there's like rocks and a little seat, a little nook. I love nooks. So yeah, that is another example, another version of how we are not trying to stay calm all the time. We are developing our ability to feel safe even when it's scary, to be like, all right, I'm safe inside, for the metaphor of like the analogy that Martha Beck was using, it's like when you're reading a book and safe in bed. In life, it's like, okay, I'm safe in my body, tucked away inside here, and I'm going through this scary situation. And I will say that there is an element to feeling safe when it's scary that involves having confidence that it is okay to die. Ultimately, a lot of people will come back to, sorry, my hands are getting a little cold. A lot of people will come back to, if you go like, and then what'll happen, and then what'll happen, and then what'll happen. It's either that they're going to be so shameful that they're going to be cast out of society, which then would mean they're going to die, or it just means they're not going to have enough resources and they're going to die. So there's an element to all of this where it involves getting comfortable with death, which is tricky for some people. And I have the, blessing of having had a near-death experience, so I am not afraid of death. I have no issues with it. I am looking forward to it, but not in a like I'm trying to make it happen way, but like I know it's really nice, so I'm excited to have that experience too, and I'm at this point happy to have this experience for as long as I need to. It's kind of like if you were like dropped off at a airport and you were going to Hawaii and you really liked Hawaii and they were like, you have a layover, there's something wrong with the plane and you're going to be here until that time. And you'd make the best of it. You might go buy a book, get a great snack. You might be a little grumpy at certain times, like, I'm really ready for the plane to get fixed. But it would be okay because you're like, yeah, I'll make the best of it. And then eventually I get to go to Hawaii. That's how I feel about life and death. So anyways, yes, a part of it is, building up your nervous system resources so that you have, the understanding and the capacity to actually shift into curiosity and that observer state. But it's also has to do with building up your willingness to die and be comfortable with death. I also think there's like an in-between of that a lot of us have not developed, which is like a comfort level with being like shunned by society and destitute, that I think would be very positive for people to feel like it's okay to be like living totally dependent on other people's resources, or it's okay to be without housing, without finances and begging for money, and it's okay to be like shunned by society. That's sort of like an in-between step that I think can be almost harder for people than the comfort level with what's it called? Death. I happen to, again, have had the blessing of being shunned by my entire community. Everybody before that I knew before the age of 22 stopped talking to me when I came out. And then I overdosed and was in a hospital, and everybody told me I did the worst thing possible, and like I was so shameful and the biggest problem on the planet. And so that kind of got that out of my system a little, because it was like even then I was okay. Actually, I was fairly well taken care of in the hospital. And I had my first Christmas alone ever the day after I got released from the hospital. And I was alone, and I knew I had no job and no money, and my family had left kind of in a huff. And I mean, I had told them I was refusing to see them, so what were they to do? I think they probably didn't leave in a huff. They probably left in a pretty sad, confused, stressed out state of mind. That's the old story, that they left in a huff, but I told them I didn't want to see them. So anyways, point is, I had a lovely Christmas. Definitely my favorite Christmas memory of my life is that Christmas I spent alone in that apartment without any pressures of anyone, because I knew everyone had written me off as hopeless. And there was so much freedom in that. So it's, looking at what it would be like to be destitute and shunned is also a great thing to consider getting comfortable with. Okay, I think I've gone in enough directions. Love you all. And I will put that episode by Martha Beck in the description. Okay, love you.